recovery doesn't have to be dreadful. And so one of the things that we really work towards is that the women who come to Blue Monarch can learn that they are actually healed of addiction. And so they don't have to carry that burden and that weight the rest of their lives. And they don't have to call themselves an addict the rest of their lives. And so what we really look towards is, it really does become more of an adventure, because we walk alongside of them through every single step of this process, and they work on so many issues while they're here. It's really pretty remarkable because we see the most incredible things happen. And so, like just the other day, we had a meeting with a woman who had some problems that seemed just impossible. But our team, our gifted team, and every single person has something to contribute to that woman's issues and how do we solve them? But the great thing is that God himself is the CEO of every one of those meetings. That's how it happens.
I was born to a generational abusive addict. A baby didn't change things for my dad. And the guilt and the fact that he couldn't change, I guess, or he just hadn't found the want to, became too much for him, and he killed himself right before my second birthday. And then at 13, I found a copy of his suicide letter, and it said, "My daughter deserves better." And I didn't quite know what that meant until I had demons of my own one day. And then that's when I figured out what it meant to feel like your child deserves better than what you can give them. The first time I used drugs, I was 17. I fell in love with something that could fill a void for me that I didn't know I had. And I didn't have to feel, it made me feel like I was worth something. When I was using, a good day was not being sick, but not having to sell my body. Whenever I found out I was pregnant, I was strung out and with an abusive man, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. God's help was getting me arrested and sent to a halfway house where I could have my baby. And I thought that I would be taking my baby home with me. And when he was 2 days old, DCS took him from me. And that was like what signified, like, you aren't worthy to be his mother. I remember feeling like I wanted to go see him, but just needing one more hit and then overdosing on the way to go see him. Whenever I finally was able to learn how to be his mom and to deserve to be his mama and to absorb the fact that he was calling me mama. He called me mama for the first time since being here at Blue Monarch. I never had heard that before. I never thought God would have done this for me and given me my baby, and to know what it's like to love him now and to mean it, like what loving him really looks like. It's not just something you feel, it's something you do. So when I look back and think about how I never thought I would get to be Jacoby's mom, and now the fact that I'm gonna get to see my baby go to kindergarten is something I can't even explain, because I never thought I would get to see that. Never.
To most people, my childhood would have seemed super normal. At a young age, I realized that I had a lot of anxiety and depression kicked in. So for me, my childhood was dysfunctional. Drugs gave me a confidence about myself. It was easier for me to talk to people, just live my life if I was high. And then at the age of 17, I was pregnant with my first daughter, Chloe. Not being able to be a mom to Chloe really made me resent myself. And then in 2017, I was pregnant again with Sage, who is now 4 years old. Me and Sage's father had a very abusive relationship. It wasn't good. Lots of drugs, lots of chaos, lots of fighting, lots of police being called to our apartment. It just got worse and worse to the point where DCS was called on me, and she was taken from my custody right after her first birthday. After I found out I was pregnant with Luna, I was just losing custody of my third child, Noah, and that's when I realized that there was no other option, that I needed to get help. And that's when I came to Blue Monarch. Luna was born free from any drugs. There were no drugs in her system when she was born, and she was the first one of all my kids to be that way. So when I came to Blue Monarch, you could say that I was basically an atheist. I almost had resentment towards God because my life had been so terrible. So I had this hate in my heart for him, you know, and there was just one day when a light bulb came on in my head, and I realized that there is a God out there and that he loves me and he wants what's best for me. And that's when I really started to be an awesome mom to my kids. That's when I realized that I can be a mom to Sage, I can be a mom to Chloe, I can be a mom to all my babies, and I can be a rock star at it. When the world told me that I couldn't be a mom to all my kids, God told me that I could be a mom to all 4 of them.
I really feel like the thing that we try to live by every day is why settle for ordinary if you can have extraordinary. So everything that we do, we try to live by that because like when we were trying to figure out housing for our graduates, we could have built a really boring apartment building. But it was really important to make it something that would be exciting because recovery doesn't have to be dreadful. And I think that's one of the things that we enjoy at Blue Monarch is making recovery more of an adventure. And I feel like we get to see women show up feeling very ordinary and leave feeling extraordinary. And so I think it's really so important to all of us that every woman who comes here feels valued and feels like she does deserve this. So we want her to feel like she deserves to live in a seaside cottage because it's colorful and it's cheerful, and why not? She deserves that. So we live by that with everything that we do. So even our goats have a tower. And so we really like to incorporate that into every aspect of how we operate. So God makes us extraordinary.